Do you find it difficult to implement forgiveness? The person who's being told that they need to forgive is a person that's maybe been injured profoundly, totally lost their confidence, unsure how to move forward, they're hurting, they're confused, and thinking possibly, well, if I forgive that person, maybe they might hurt me again. And there's a truth in that, because that could happen again. So today I want to consider something else. Before forgiving someone else and feeling pressured to forgive someone else because that's what somebody else has told you to do, that's what we are commanded to do. In the Holy Bible it says, forgive your enemies. Just think about yourself for a few minutes. How long have you suffered because of other people? How long have you been hurting because of what somebody else has said or done to you? How many years have you been living small and feeling insecure because somebody tripped you up or ridiculed you and made you feel that you're not good enough? And how long have you been avoiding living your best life or even being who you truly are, instead just being a shadow and in the background, apprehensive to shine your light? Because if you're doing any of all these things, I'd like you to consider the meaning of forgiveness. Before you can forgive anybody else, it might be that you need to forgive you. Forgive yourself for suffering for so long, forgiving yourself for hurting, forgiving yourself for taking up so-called opportunities and being pressured to go somewhere and do something that you don't really want to do. Forgiving yourself for making choices that you knew that were wrong for you, but you did them anyway, and then ended up disappointed and even disillusioned. Forgiving yourself for losing so many years putting other people steering your life in a way that you know that wasn't right for you. And when you truly forgive yourself and can accept that you put your trust into people and into information and be led by people that you really didn't want to give them that much of an influence or power in your life, and you come back to yourself. For example, you know someone who was saying, oh, come out, and you're going, I'm too tired, I want to rest. No, but come out, come on, you'll enjoy yourself. You know in your heart of heart that you just don't feel like going out and you don't think you will enjoy yourself. You want to just rest, gather your energy. But what happens is you end up going out, and you might enjoy your time or not. But at the back of your mind, after you've spent all the money that you spent and you've had a late night, you really wish that you'd stayed at home and had an early night. Or let's say you were pressured to go somewhere, or you felt pressured to go somewhere you do not want to go. You might be directed to go and be with somebody, to go and meet somebody, and you get a bad feeling, or you just get a feeling that you just don't want to go. But you go because you give in. How many times are you doing things in your life because other people have put pressure on you, and you go? And it's not really a bad thing to go unless something happens to you and it's harmful and, you end up being disillusioned. It's the fact that you're allowing other people to place suggestions in your life in what you should do and shouldn't do. And instead of listening to your inner self, even to believe what other people say, even if it's not true, forgive yourself. I used to make decisions based on what I thought was expected from me. That wasn't planned. It wasn't even thought about. I just did it. So I must have been functioning on automatic pilot at some time or another, doing what I thought was expected of me. Now, obviously with energy awareness, when life slows you down, you realise that you can't do things that you could do before. And some people are actually disabled. They can't walk, they can't run, they maybe haven't got a car or a vehicle. If they need to go somewhere, they're reliant on somebody else to take them. Maybe they don't even like asking anybody. But that doesn't mean any of us can't do what we really want to do, because there are other choices available. And if you're like me and you've given a lot of time to other people, don't regret it, because otherwise that negates everything that you've done, all the good deeds that you've done and the thoughtfulness. But if you've been hurt by people, or disappointed, or let down, and you've put yourself out for those people, or more to the point, they've lured you into this situation to go and be with them or do something for them, and then they hurt you and injured afterwards, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for being so trusting to people who hadn't earned that trust. Forgive yourself for putting people in leadership roles over your life who haven't earned that right to be your leader. If you were fortunate to be brought up by conscientious parents, then you understand that there is somebody looking after you with your best interests. But not everybody had that. A lot of people had a very unhappy and difficult childhood. And a lot of children, they've had to be the helper in the household. They've had to be the one who's living in difficult conditions and even traumatic conditions, and somehow they're having to navigate through life. But if you're the one who's been led into doing something, even coerced into doing something, put a lot of pressure and control to do something that you don't want to do, even being in a relationship that you don't really want to be in, or remain in a relationship that you don't want to be in, that isn't healthy for you, forgive yourself. I'm not condoning anyone harming anybody. This isn't what I'm about. But even people who are manipulative and controlling and they're exploiting, to say, well, hang on a minute, they served a purpose in my life for me to discover who I am. I didn't know what I wanted before, and I didn't know who I was before, but now I am learning. Now I'm going to discover what I really want to do, and I'm going to do what I really want to do in life. And it isn't all about me, 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 me. You might be so preoccupied, even with a friend or friends, that you actually don't develop in yourself. You know, you're so busy going out and having a nice time, and because in some way having a good time seems more important. When you decide to look after yourself, and when you decide to think about what you really want to do and move into that direction, you're more likely going to find that you will meet other people who are similar. You might find community groups, or if you go and study, obviously these people made decisions to go studying too. And the old company that you used to keep, why do you want to do that? Why are you wasting your time to it? Their studies aren't going to go anywhere. Why are you doing that? Where you know that you're still sucked in and said, well, I want to do, well, at least I'm going to try, No, you don't need to add, because I want to. This is it. I've made my decision. In fact, you don't need to answer anybody anything. But the fact that there is an opportunity to go to school means there's an opportunity to learn. And some children, in fact millions of children, get a chance to go on to college or university. And even though it's very expensive, a lot of people do it. And some people do it to please their parents. But in the end, the children that go on, say for example, to study for a profession, straight on with their parents' support, the parents actually mean best for them. They want them to give their best opportunity to their children. They want to feel that they've done a good job, that they've left the child with something that they can not only earn a living but contribute positively into the world. And there's going to be enough battles and oppositions in life when you're trying to navigate your career. There might be doors open and doors closed, and then you study for one thing and then suddenly there's a new opportunity arrives. But you've not prepared psychologically for that. You prepared to do this instead. And when we forgive ourselves for all that pushing in the direction that we think we didn't want to go, instead of saying, no, this isn't what we want to do, we become more openly aware of what is this opportunity. There's nothing wrong with studying one particular area and then thinking, I'd like to do that instead. Nothing wrong, because it's continual development. It's discovering who you are, what you really want to do. I want to travel. You might go on an ordinary package holiday with other tourists, and then suddenly you want to go off the beaten track. This is venturing beyond what is the expectations or the norm or what is presented and sold. When you realise that you're not actually fulfilled, you're not happy, you're not doing what you really want to do, there's only one person who can change that, and that is you.